You walk down the same concrete suburban sidewalk every single morning, past the rusted chain-link fence and the overgrown maple tree, entirely convinced that you are the observer. But you are wrong. High above, perched on a frost-covered power line that slices through the gray morning mist, a glossy black shape sits perfectly motionless. A single crow tilts its head, its dark eye reflecting the cold sunlight, fixing its gaze precisely on the rhythm of your stride. It does not fly away, it does not panic. Instead, it is actively collecting data, cataloging the unique geometry of your facial structure, the heavy swing of your winter coat, and the precise cadence of your boots against the pavement. To this bird, you are not a random background element in a sprawling urban landscape. You are a specific profile stored in a highly sophisticated biological filing system, a living creature subject to a continuous, unyielding avian surveillance network that blankets our entire modern world. For decades, traditional biology viewed the avian brain as a primitive organ driven entirely by blind instinct and simple reproductive urges. We assumed that the birds inhabiting our city parks and backyard gardens perceived humans as nothing more than generic, shifting shapes, moving pillars of either potential food or immediate danger. This comforting illusion allowed us to walk through our neighborhoods with a sense of quiet superiority, secure in the belief that we were the only conscious minds evaluating the environment. Yet if you stop and watch a flock of crows gathered on a patches of dead winter grass, you will begin to notice unsettling anomalies that disrupt this orthodox worldview. A single human steps onto the grass, and the flock erupts into a chaotic, synchronized wave of black wings and sharp metallic alarm calls. Moments later, a different human walks the exact same path, carrying the exact same bag, and the birds remain utterly undisturbed, adjusting their feathers with calm, calculated indifference. This jarring disparity reveals a hidden cognitive world operating right beneath our noses, a parallel intelligence that possesses an astonishing capacity for individual human recognition. Crows do not merely see us, they judge us based on a profound evolutionary adaptation known as episodic memory, a mental time travel machine that allows a bird to replay past human encounters frame by frame. When a crow looks at your face, its hyper-dense brain architecture processes the distance between your eyes, the slope of your nose, and the contours of your jawline with the accuracy of modern facial recognition software. This information is processed within the nidopallium, a specialized forebrain region that functions remarkably like the human prefrontal cortex, enabling advanced problem-solving and emotional categorization. The bird is not reacting to a vague threat. It is recognizing you, the specific individual who either tossed a piece of bread 2 weeks ago or shooed them away from a trash bin. The true depth of this surveillance came to light through a groundbreaking, meticulously controlled field experiment that forever shattered our understanding of animal perception. Scientists wore a specific, realistic human mask representing an arbitrary face, which they designated as the dangerous handler who trapped and banded wild crows on a university campus. To ensure scientific rigor, they also wore a completely different, neutral mask, representing a face that never harmed or interfered with the birds in any way. When the researchers walked through the campus paths wearing the neutral mask, the crows perched in the high pine needles ignored them completely, continuing their daily routines without a single missed beat. But the moment the dangerous mask appeared, walking silently along the brick pathways, the entire campus transformed into a hostile theater of coordinated avian rage. Crows that had never even been touched by the handlers began to gather on the low stone walls and heavy tree branches, their bodies tense and their wings slightly flared in an aggressive posture. They unleashed a torrent of harsh, rhythmic scolding vocalizations, a specific audio frequency designed to alert the entire local population to the presence of an active threat. The birds followed the masked figure for blocks, diving low through the crisp air, their heavy black beaks snapping shut just inches from the latex scalp of the intruder. This frantic behavioral response was not a temporary reaction to an immediate scare. It was a calculated, sustained manifestation of deep-seated recognition. The crows had memorized the exact lines of that specific face, holding that image in their minds as a symbol of hostility, proving that their world is divided into detailed profiles of friends and foes. As the experiment progressed, researchers noticed an even more unsettling layer of intelligence that defied conventional evolutionary explanations. The crows did not just remember the dangerous face when it was actively threatening them. They remembered it across vast stretches of time, even when the mass did nothing but walk quietly among hundreds of innocent students. The bird brain was holding on to a grudge, preserving a highly specific visual memory through months of changing seasons, shifting weather patterns, and completely altered environments. This long-term retention requires a massive amount of metabolic energy, meaning that tracking individual human identities is a vital, high-priority survival strategy for urban corvids. They are constantly updating their internal maps of safety and peril, transforming our ordinary backyards into complex tactical grids where every human action is weighed, measured, and permanently recorded. The true horror and brilliance of this avian surveillance network lies not just in how a single bird remembers a face, but in how that memory spreads like a virus through an entire ecosystem. As the university experiment stretched into years, researchers documented a chilling shift in the local crow population. Birds that were not even alive during the initial trapping incidents, fledglings that had never seen the dangerous mass before, began to scold and dive-bomb the researchers with the exact same fury as their parents. Through a complex system of cultural transmission, the initial grudge had been transformed into a community legacy, passed down through generations via vocal alarms and dramatic behavioral modeling. The elders were actively teaching the youth exactly which human faces to hate, ensuring that a single mistake made by a human could mark their bloodline as an enemy of the flock for decades to come. This cross-generational memory is sustained by a sophisticated linguistic system that operates far beyond simple, instinctual cries. When a crow identifies a dangerous human face, it alters the syntax, duration, and pitch of its harsh, scolding clicks, embedding specific data into the acoustic structure of the sound wave. Other crows sitting blocks away, hidden among the shadows of deep brick chimneys or telephone poles, interpret these sonic modulations, immediately adopting a defensive posture without ever having seen the target themselves. They are sharing intelligence across an invisible urban grid, creating a living, breathing database of human behavior that updates in real time. A person could walk into a completely new neighborhood miles away, only to be met by a wall of hostile black wings, simply because the local flock received a regional update about their identity. To understand how a brain the size of a walnut manages this level of social complexity, neuroscientists turn to advanced functional neuroimaging, peering into the active neural pathways of conscious corvids. When a crow is exposed to a familiar, threatening human face, its brain lights up with intense metabolic activity in regions directly tied to amygdala structures, the emotional powerhouse responsible for fear and social learning. Simultaneously, the visual cortex coordinates with the vocal motor centers, showcasing that the bird is not just passively recognizing a face, but instantly formulating a strategic behavioral response. Their visual processing speeds operate at a much higher frequency than our own, meaning they perceive our slow, heavy movements in high-definition detail, capturing the subtle muscle twitches around our eyes and the slight shifts in our posture that betray our hidden intentions. This deep cognitive investment suggests that crows are running a continuous risk-benefit analysis on the human race, treating us as a highly unpredictable, volatile element of nature that must be carefully managed. They have learned to exploit our routines, memorizing the exact schedule of the local sanitation worker who drops scraps by the dumpster, while simultaneously tracking the erratic, dangerous movements of a neighborhood cat or an aggressive teenager. By transforming individual human faces into fixed markers of safety or peril, crows bypass the need for constant, energy-wasting panic, allowing them to thrive in the heart of our most chaotic concrete jungles. They have adapted their minds to mirror our own complexity, turning our cities into a shared theater of hyper-awareness, where every citizen is being continuously watched, judged, and categorized. As you step off the sidewalk and onto your porch, the glossy black shape on the power line shifts its weight, a slight rustle of feathers catching the dimming evening light. It lets out a single low, guttural click, a sound that carries across the quiet street before the bird launches itself into the cool air, vanishing over the rooftops to join the massive evening roost. You might close your front door and lock out the world, retreating into the comfort of your human isolation. But the record of your walk remains intact outside. Your face, your coat, your stride, and your intent have all been logged into a collective consciousness that will outlive the season. We spent centuries looking down at the natural world, assuming we were the masters of observation, completely blind to the reality that we are the ones being studied under a relentless airborne microscope.